Hi, my name is Beth Hiley here for Board Game Geek at Origins 2018. I'm sitting down with Peter Hayward from Jelly Bean Games, quite a delicious name, and you've brought us The Lady and the Tiger.
Yes, The Lady and the Tiger is a set of 5 games. So there's 5 different games in the box. They all use the exact same 18 cards. And the 5 games are not like 5 variants in one game, they're 5 completely different games. They use the components in different ways, they have different victory conditions, different rules. So in the box there's a bluffing game, a deduction game, a bidding game, there's a maze game, and there's a solo game.
Wow.
So yeah, the box plays 1 through 6 between the different variants.
Well, so before we kind of get into any of those different, separate and unique games that you can play, let's just take a look at the 18 cards that you have, which... Is there a particular inspiration that made for this sort of dual color contrast?
Yeah, so the game was originally based on the old short story The Lady or the Tiger by Frank Stockton from the 1800s. It was the first ever short story that ended without telling you what happened. Huh. And audiences were like, no, but what happened? And the author was like, well, that's up to you to decide. And they're like, no, but what actually happened? And I've always been fascinated by that story. So that's The Lady and the Tiger. And the first game that I designed was it's not this one, it was a deduction game, and so I needed people to guess whether they're a lady or a tiger, and I just needed a second aspect, so it was blue or red. Blue because it's obviously the best color, and red because it's colorblind friendly.
That's true, because then they'll show up as different tones of gray, I think.
Exactly right. And so that's why it's blue, red, lady, tiger.
Of the 5 different separate games you have available with this one deck, do you have personal favorites?
This one's probably my favorite, and the sad thing is this is not the one I designed. So I designed one of them, then we put a contest out, and one of the designers managed to make a game that worked with the components better than the game that the components were designed for.
Wow.
It was very impressive, yeah.
So which one are which are we laid out for at the moment?
So this is called Labyrinth. This is the maze game. It's a 2-player only abstract game.
Well, give us a quick tour just so people can get an idea of the complexity you might get with this.
You play either the blue tiger or the red tiger. And your job is to get your 5 tiger cubs back to you. So a wicked queen has stolen your 5 tiger cubs, and you want to get them across the maze back home. The first player to get all 5 tiger cubs home wins. Each turn, you do 2 things. The first thing you do is you move a tiger cub, one of yours, to an adjacent card. So in this case, I can move to either of these 2 red tigers. They happen to be red. If it was like this, you can move on to that. There's no restrictions on anything like that. Then, once you've moved one of your tiger cubs, you switch 2 cards. The 2 cards you switch have to either be in the same row or the same column. You can't move the 4 corner cards. And at the start of the game, you can either switch 2 blue cards or 2 lady cards. At least one of them has to have a tiger cub on it. So right now, the only move available to me is switching this blue card and this blue card. When you switch 2 blue cards, you move this over, so the other player has to switch either 2 red cards or 2 lady cards. So the other player would go.
Same thing, I imagine this would switch from lady to tiger.
Exactly right. So they might move to this adjacent spot, and then let's say they switch these 2 ladies. So you're that much closer to your goal. Switch 2 ladies, this moves over. You can move cards with your own cub. You can move cards with the other tigers' cubs on it. Multiple cubs can go on the same card. If you ever can't move a card, so let's say it was on red lady and I had to switch. Currently there's no cubs on red, there's no cubs on lady. So instead of switching, I just switch both of these over. And the other rule is that if you ever switch 2 identical cards, so these are both red tigers, if I switch 2 red tigers, I again switch both of these tokens.
Now, because you had sort of built that deduction game first,
yeah, absolutely.
Which is a little chicken and the egg, which one came first? A lot of this artwork or the genesis of that first game?
So the first game came from a mathematical puzzle I couldn't get out of my head, which is that if I know that there's 2 red tigers, if there's a red tiger, a blue tiger, a red lady, and a blue lady, if I take one of these, I know that there's a 2/3 chance that you're a tiger and a 2/3 chance that you're red. And from that, I was like, I have a lot of information, but I don't have all the information. So that game, all the components were built for that game. I put the components online in a contest, and people submitted. I put it on Board Game Geek actually, and all the people submitted different entrants. And we're only expecting to add 1 or 2 to the box, but we got so many great entries that we end up adding 4 more variants to the box. Yeah, no. So yeah, the box, we call it the couples box because all of them play 2 players except for the solo game, and the solo game you can play as a co-op.
So you've got little handy dandy cards here for just giving the directions.
Yeah. So everything I talked to you about Labyrinth is on those 2 cards. Because that's 2-player only. One of the games goes up to 6, so there's 6 little reference cards for that one. The solo game just has 1 reference card, etc. So the box plays 1 through 6. There's 2 only. 1, 2 to 4, 1, 2 to 6 in a solo game.
I wanted to highlight too that your sort of primary cards here, your close up of ladies and the tigers have a little bit of a foil on them,
foil.
just a little.
And these ones have a different back to the other cards too. So these are called the door cards, because in the original short story he has to pick between, behind one of the doors is a lady and behind one of the doors is a tiger. And all the other cards we call the clue cards, and they have a cool little lady tiger tessellation.
Nice, that is spectacular.
Yeah, we said to our artist, look up MC Esh's tessellations, and she'd never done a tessellation before, but she attacked it with gusto, and we're really happy with how it came out.
It's like every little piece of this ties in.
To the lady and the tiger.
Yeah,
Exactly right.
yeah. That is spectacular. I really hope you guys will go quickly and with great rapidity to check out The Lady and the Tiger if you're interested. This is being published by Jelly Bean Games. And Peter, thank you so much for giving us a really in-depth tour.
Thank you so much for having me on.
It's fascinating.